So there have been some tremendous changes in the Lagos City rental market. I have come to discover that a lot of people are putting up a lot of innovative ideas in order to revolutionize the rental market. In as much as fact that this is a good investment decision for landlords in Lagos. However, this is gradually becoming a nightmare for investors who can only afford to do annual income. So on today's episode of Property Matters, we're going to be talking about Housing Crisis Part 3, and this episode focuses on Shortlet's rental income versus rental incomes annually in Lagos. So we're going to pick out some important fundamentals, and of course, trust me, you don't want to miss any part of this, because trust me, this is one of the best episodes that you'll be glad you have seen today. Do also subscribe, and I'll see you immediately after this short timeout. Don't go nowhere. You're welcome to this channel. My name is Adejari, and I'm super delighted to be here. So on today's episode of Housing Crisis Part 3, we're going to be talking about annual income versus shortlet income. What exactly is the major discoveries, and what exactly is the evolution that has occurred in the Lagos State rental market? Now, on today's episode, my emphasis is going to focus on the prime areas of the mainland. For months right now, I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of investigation, just to understand what is happening in the mainland rental market. And on today's episode, I'm going to explain some fundamental things that you should understand, more importantly, if you are looking forward to have an investment in this axis. Now, recently, there's been a lot of talk, a lot of hype, a lot of it's not even hype, a lot of reality concerning the evolution of the Lagos rental and, of course, the Lagos shortlet market. We have seen basically that the rental market, more importantly, the shortlet rental market, is evolving at a speedy rate, and to the point that real estate investors are beginning to show preference for the shortlet market. And why exactly do they show preference for the shortlet rental market? Number one is that the shortlet rental market is an available market, in the sense that if you want to acquire a house, whether it's a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom, you are not thinking of furnishing, because all the facilities are there. And the premium service that most of this shortlet market runs basically is due to the fact that all the facilities are there. Talking about gym, talking about swimming pool, talking about 24 hours electricity, talking about good internet service, talking about good security service. So it's like a home away from home. And a lot of business person, more importantly rental enthusiasts, have shown preference for the shortlet market. Now, the preference basically right now is now beginning to change the trajectory of rent in Lagos, and this is due to the fact that there have been an increased interest in the Lagos State shortlet market as compared to the Lagos State annual rental market. When I talk about the annual rental market, I'm talking about a rental market whereby you rent a house and you pay the rent after a year. So what exactly is the evolution? Now, the first thing I discovered basically is that recent developments on the mainland right now, okay, when I talk about mainland, it's not just everyone on the mainland, but I'm going to be going and giving some analytics. Now, most of the developers on the Yaba axis, some of the developers of the Surulere axis, some of the developers in some places in the Ikeja, and of course, if I've omitted some place, you are free to also drop that in the comment section. Perhaps I would pick that up as I do subsequent videos. Now, I found out that 60% of developers right now who are building majorly for the shortlet market. And this obviously should, of course, indicates growing concerns for those who may not be able to afford shortlet markets. Now, the point basically is that I've had interactions with some real estate developers on the mainland, and I also intend, to have further interaction with some also on the highland, and for them to understand, or for us to create, an understanding on why is the shortlet market replacing the annual rental market. Now, like I said previously, I said the shortlet market is an already made market whereby if you are booking an apartment, your apartment comes fully finished. You have your sitting room, you have your bedroom, you have your furnitures, you have your stove, you have everything. You have internet, you have gym, you have swimming pool, you have security. So the shortlet market basically right now is that all you need to do as a resident is just to move into the market, to move into your apartment with just your clothes. Now, a lot of real estate investors who I have spoken with recently, or a lot of shortlet investors, have told me that they prefer going into shortlet because the cost of renting a house, the cost of furnishing the house, and some unforeseen environmental factors has discouraged several of them from investing in annual rental income. Now, what that simply means basically is that the shortlet market is giving a whole lot of concern, a lot of concentration to the investors' comfort and, of course, the investors' satisfaction. Now, in as much as fact that this is a good news for real estate investors, more importantly, some of my investors who have been buying into shortlet projects on the mainland and also on the island, this obviously is a good news for you, because with this kind of model that has now become a norm and that is gradually penetrating in every other places in Lagos, this obviously ensures that you get to earn your return on investment faster as compared to when you are doing annual rent. However, the consequences of this is that because of the growing shortlet market, because of consumers or clients' preference for an already made apartment, the consequence for this basically is that we are gradually entering a dispensation whereby annual rental market in Lagos may go into extinction. It's getting to a point whereby it will get to landlords will prefer to convert their annual rent into shortlet rent. Now, looking at this, basically, I was on the mainland with some investors, of course, with some developers who showed me some of their projects. And the truth basically is that 60% of people who are building now are not building with the intention of doing annual rent. That's just the reality. Now, initially, people are always building with the intention of letting it out, maybe collecting 3 million, 2 million. Now, a shortlet market can give you a 3 million income in less than maybe a year. What am I saying? Maybe in 6 months, 8 months, depending on the facility you have there, the structures you have on ground, and the management system in that shortlet. So the basic thing is that Lagos landlords are now beginning to open their eyes to the possibility of what the shortlet market can offer. That means that if you own a 2-bedroom apartment, presently is worth 95 million in Surulere. If you own a 2-bedroom apartment, 95 million, that means in between 7 to 8 years, you will get your return on investment back, and you will make rental income on a monthly basis based on that. So this is why people who are constructing now on the mainland, larger percent of real estate developers that are building now on the mainland are building for shortlet. Nobody is going to say, take my apartment, pay me after 1 year. Now, like I said initially, this will have consequences. That means that the available houses will become not enough to go around. Because you see, surprisingly, when I got to the mainland, I found out that the major shortlets in now Surulere is a very, very good location for shortlets. Yaba is a very good location for shortlets. Ikeja is a very good location. If the areas I've not mentioned, Lekki Phase 1 is a very good location for Admiralty is a very good location for shortlet. Because you see, as at yesterday when I was touring some of our shortlet projects, I found out that yesterday all the shortlet bookings were totally booked. There was no room. So, and that was why I didn't even spend the night. I had to find my way back to my house that day, because if I had stayed in that location, I won't get a place to stay. Now, why is it so? Now, I went further to have an interaction with the developer, and one of the things he told me that was very, very surprising is that he said there are some people who are willing to pay 450,000 to book a room for months. Surprisingly, he also went further to tell me that there are people who book for 6 months, there are people who book for, let's say, 1 year, and while some are allowed to pay in installments, some pays within 3 to 6 months, and they take the room for themselves. Now, you may argue with the fact that, what does this mean? That means basically that with the innovation that is being introduced to the shortlet market, the Lagos State housing market is getting to a situation whereby, God forbid, 2 to 3 years from today, developers or landlords may begin to issue quick notice to their tenants, telling them that I'm not doing annual rental again. If you are still interested in my apartment, you are going to pay me monthly, and this is what I'm charging, because this obviously is a reality of what is going. So the developer told me that, how can I spend hundreds of millions to erect units of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, and I have to wait for several years to get my return, whereby I can put in good facilities, bring in good effective management systems, and of course get my return in less than 4 or 5 years. And that's is the reality of what is happening in Lagos at the moment. Now, new structures that is around that Yaba, Surulere, Ikeja, Palm Grove, Alago Meji of Yaba right now, all those new structures now, they are not building it for annual rent again. In fact, the situation has gone so bad that those who are building for annual rent right now are at the liberty to increase their price, because they are fully aware, of what their counterparts who are running shortlet are doing, and they are also aware of the kind of rental income they are making. And to couple with the fact is that recent real estate investors right now that I'm working with are even showing preference, with developers that will build and of course earn rental income for them monthly. So the reality now is that the dynamics is changing. The situation right now is becoming more competitive. And as a real estate investor, the reason why we bring educative videos like this for you to understand basically is that so that this will help your decision making. Now, I'm not saying that you should not invest in other areas, but as a smart real estate investors, there are some important indices and statistical records that should influence your next real estate investment. So it's not about where you like as it used to be. As long as the fact that you are in diaspora and you don't have intention of coming back anytime soon, I personally would prefer you put your investment or you put your earning into an investment that is guaranteed or that can guarantee rental income. Now, another thing I've also discovered basically is that gone are those days where you have big structures or big apartments with space. Now, in Lagos right now, no one cares about the space. What they care about is the availability of the property. Now, in one of my videos when I was talking about rental income, the first part, I talk about that the demand that we have outweighs the availability of the property. So the competition is now becoming more intense and fierce. Now, what is the consequence of this? today now is on the mainland. Yaba right now, 60% are building for Shortlet, monthly rental income. In Surulere, the same thing. In Anthony, the same thing. And other parts of the mainland. Now, the trajectory basically is that if developers on the mainland, on the island, are seeing what their counterparts are doing on the mainland, and they can come to the conclusion that this is one of the things, because you see, the thing is that I have carefully had interactions with some developers, and when these guys begin to analyze how they get their hotels or their accommodations fully booked, some of the things they have, I found out that when it even comes to in the area of Shortlet management, expertise differs. There are some real estate developers that can guarantee your monthly rental income, and there are some that will say your income is after 3 months or after every quarter or every. So you need to understand that the dynamics of payment and the dynamics of operation differs, and that is why it is very important you understand the terms before you go into investment. So in other words, despite the fact that majority of these guys are operating Shortlet, their mode of operation differs. So you need to carefully understand this. And in addition to this, it is equally important to understand that it is not all real estate Shortlet management company that can guarantee you monthly income. It is not everybody, because you see, their area of specialty differs, their market differs, and these are some of the things. So this is the consequences now. My submission is this: 5 years from today, people may start looking for rental opportunities in Shagamu, some in Ibadan, some in Ijebu-Ode and other neighboring states. Because you see, with the Shortlet revolution, if this revolution consists or it continues at this rate, trust me, 80% of landlords in Lagos will tap into the rental opportunities that is in Shortlet. So this is my submission. See, as a real estate investors, between now and the end of the year, endeavor that you have a rental property, whether it is studio, whether it is 1 bedroom, whether it's 2 bedroom. Now, the idea basically is that an investment today will help you determine, because you see, what many people don't understand is that when you invest in Lagos, you have bought your own portion of the national cake. That is how it works. That means you can dictate your price, you can dictate your management, you can dictate everything. So it's not about I'm not coming back or I'm coming back. It's about you having your own portion of the wealth that the Lagos State rental market controls and it commands. So this is my submission. These are some of my discoveries, and I think it's very important for my real estate investors to understand this and tap in. So in case you are interested in any Shortlets, or whether it is land or land banking or any other thing, you can free to call us. So the consequence is that if this persists, the rental opportunities, maybe your 500,000 per year rent, you'll be getting it in places like Ijebu-Ode, Ibadan. Please help me with the locations: Ijebu-Ode, Ibadan, Moniya, Abeokuta. Those will be the available places for rental opportunities, because I foresee that in the next 3 to 4 years, nobody will do annual rental income in Lagos. My prediction, I stand to be corrected, but this is what is gradually happening. See you in my next video. Thank you very much for your time. Please do well to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.